I am here with Emily and with Sarah, and we're going to work on kicking up into handstand and actually balancing in the middle of the room. And I've done a sequence on this before, but I have devised further plans based on this. So if you've been working on kicking up at the wall for a while and you're trying to come away from the wall, I've decided that the wall is not an effective place to be anymore, and so we're going to work on all that today. Lie down on your back to start with. You need a strap, and other than that, you don't need anything else. All right, so you're going to start in Shavasana, flat on your back, legs apart, arms alongside of you. And if that's uncomfortable in any way to begin, you can start with your knees bent, feet on the floor, and knees together. You can have your feet as wide as your mat. But no Supta Baddha, no nothing like that today. No nothing. It's my fine English skills to start with. Right, and then in and out through your nose. And then just pay attention always to what you get on your mat with in terms of energy level, any sort of injury or stiffness or tightness or anything that you have in your body. And it's not that there's a good or bad answer that you're looking for. It's just that you are paying attention to what exists right now, so you can always take care of what happens today based on the actual fact of what's going on in your body. So make notes of what you've got so that you move intelligently through your practice. And by the time you get to Shavasana, hopefully, if all goes well, and if I do my job well, which I really aim to do, you'll feel better. And then I like to open with 3 breaths. So watch and feel an inhale, move in, and just experience it like a story so that it's got some interest to it. Once it gets up into the top of your chest, open your mouth and exhale out. Let the breath move all the way out. And then do that 2 more times, inhaling in, feeling the breath expand, trying to lengthen the inhale out as much as possible. And then open your mouth, long, even exhale. And then one more time on your own. And then go back to in and out through your nose. And add Ujjayi if that's your practice. So narrowing the back of your throat so that not just adding the audible sound of Ujjayi, that little bit of a sound that it has, but using it more as a place to lengthen the breath out so you can move really slowly. So handstand is one of those things that uses momentum at the very beginning to kick up. But eventually you have to get rid of almost all of the momentum to be able to land it in the middle of the room or to balance it. The longer you can lengthen your breath out, the more slowly you can go in all the transitions between postures. The stronger you're going to get, the more approachable this will be long term. Thus concludes my speech for the beginning of class. So get your strap, hug your knees into your chest, both of them. Then you're going to wrap the strap around, oh, I was going to get that for you, the ball of your right foot, and stretch your right leg up to the ceiling with a straight knee. Right, and then leave your left foot on the floor like a bridge pose leg to start with. Right, and then walk your hands down the strap any amount that allows your shoulder heads to hit the floor, collarbones wide. And it might not feel like the tops of your shoulders are hitting, just the upper back portion of your shoulders is fine. And then reach through your right heel. And with a straight knee, notice if you've rounded your lower back up off of the mat or rounded the tailbone up to the ceiling in order to bring the leg closer. Bring the leg towards the front of the mat until the back of your hips hit the floor. And then steer your big toe towards the back of your mat. And now stretch your left leg out, hover it a couple of inches up off of the floor. Flex your left ankle so those toes face the ceiling. Right, and then with this straight knee, engaging the quad muscle or your thigh already, I want you to start to engage the quad muscle more to begin to press the front leg down towards the floor until your left heel hits. As you do that, feel the back of the leg also pressing up to the ceiling. So it'll feel like your hamstring, your calf, and your quad muscle are all working together. Okay, and then switch the strap into your left hand, take your right hand, make a horseshoe out of it, put it in the crease of your right hip. Pay attention to your left side waist and push your right hip crease to your left heel until the sides of your torso become even. And then hold on to the evenness. Switch the strap back into both hands and grab it. Good. Okay, now hold the evenness and float your left leg an inch up off of the mat. Keep that idea of activating the back of the leg and the front of the leg all at the same time, and both toes facing straight back. So left toes to the ceiling, right toes back. Now fingers behind your head and let go of the strap. And once you let it go, if your leg moved towards the front of the mat, that's all right. Take your attention to the crease of your hip and try to use your hip flexor muscles to pull the leg a little bit closer without letting your spine round. Right, now, as you exhale, lift your shoulders and your head an inch up off of the mat. Keep your collarbones wide and your throat open so you're looking up at the ceiling. Now, if you have lower back stuff or this is a lot to start with, you can stay here with your hands behind your head. If not, reach your arms up to the ceiling with your arms shoulder distance apart. Wrap your outer arms forward so that your palms face one another. And then imagine, I'm not going to be super vicious and put a block between your hands, but imagine you had a block between your hands. Firm your outer arms in so that your palms would be firming into the block, but then firm your inner arms out so your arms stay shoulder distance apart. And then you're welcome to stay here again. If not, pull your lower belly in a drop more, keep reaching through your legs, and start to bring your arms back towards your ears until maybe your upper arms line up with your ears. Rolling the outer arms up the whole time. Now get a drop longer. Take your left heel forward, your fingertips back. And then hug your knees into your chest and switch the strap onto the other foot. All right, once your strap is on the other foot, reach that heel up. And just like your hips, just like you'd like to twist one way better than the other, one hamstring is oftentimes tighter than the other. So if this is one that's tighter, you might have to let your leg come closer to the front of your mat until the back of your hips hit the floor. Right, and then steer the big toe back, shoulders wide, reach your right leg out, steer the inner thigh down so the big toe faces up, reach through your heel, and now your knee is already straight from the top of your thigh and the back of your leg. Start to press the leg down, so it'll be engaging the hamstring, the calf, the quad, all at the same time until your heel hits the floor. And then switch the strap into your right hand, make the horseshoe out of your left. Without torquing the sides of the waist unevenly, take your left hip crease to your right heel until the sides of your body are very even. And then hold that, go back to grabbing the strap with both hands, and then flex at your right hip crease, left hip crease, hover your right leg off the mat. Thank you for doing that for me. And then keep using the left hip crease to keep the leg up. Take your fingers behind your head. Good. And then collarbones wide and throat open. Exhale just an inch or two. You're not going for major height here. You're just looking for some of the efforts of handstand. And then if you're staying, stay, or arms up, shoulder distance apart. Reach to the ceiling. Firm your outer arms in. Press the inner arms out. And keep wrapping your triceps towards the front edge of your mat. And then slow motion as you breathe, arms back, just until your upper arms are either above or alongside your ears. And that'll really depend on your shoulder flexibility, which will affect your handstand eventually. Good. Lovely, ladies. All right, and then be done with that. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock all the way up and over to all fours. I came in today wearing this outfit, which is, if you can't see, it's a spirit animal shirt. I have a wolf on my shirt, and I'm wearing camouflage pants. And that's because I'm hiding from my spirit animal. That's all. That's my ridiculous comment of the day. All right, so all fours, press your hands down. Make sure that the front edge of your wrist is parallel with the front edge of your mat. And now firm your outer arms in, but press your inner arms out. That same idea you were doing on your back a second ago. All right, now press the floor down enough that your upper back, right between your shoulder blades, rounds to the ceiling a little bit. Not a huge amount, not so much that you have to look down, but enough that you feel your shoulder blades wrap around the edges. Press into my hand a little more. There you go. Now hold the work, but widen your collarbones a little further. Right, now leave your upper body like this and see how much you can draw your lower belly in without changing your upper back. And then hold that and straighten your legs into plank pose. And then once you're in plank pose, really straight knees, heels pressing back without the weight shifting back. And now if you can keep your legs really straight and your upper back this shape, you can do even more lower belly, drawing it in, like you're trying to hollow it all the way out towards the ceiling. And now neck long, shoulders away from your ears, look slightly forward, pull your shoulders an inch or two beyond your wrists. Keep everything the same, and as you exhale, bend your elbows halfway down into chaturanga. You can always drop your knees if anything else changed. Now feel the floor as if it was pressing up towards your front body. Use that idea, and on an inhale, front body to back body up into plank pose. Good, now exhale, pull back into downward facing dog. And then once you're in down dog, you can do that pedal back and forth thing if you like that. If you have it in you to hold still at any point, hold still. They do. Look at them. They're like statues. That's so lovely. Nobody ever does that. Fine, then we're going on. Inhale, come forward into plank pose again. Get that one straight line, belly in, knees straight, upper back and collarbones even. Shift forward, nothing changes. Slowly exhale, lower as if the front body was pressing to the back body the whole time. And then inhale, push straight back up. And exhale, push up and back. Right? And then do that one more time on your own. So as you bend and lower into chaturanga, you want to think about trying to press up as you lower down. Good. Oh, so nice. And you can always put your knees on the ground if other things change. That'll build better strength than it will doing this with a wobbly body. Okay, inhale, shift forward. This time, exhale halfway into chaturanga. Pause for a beat, inhale there, and now exhale, lower to the mat and leave your feet like this. Okay, now bring your arms alongside your ears, and you can either put your forehead on the floor or you can put your chin on the floor. I can't put my forehead on the floor, my nose gets in the way. Right, so turn your palms to face one another. Now press back through your heels so your legs are completely straight like they would be in plank pose. Now keep them really straight and draw your belly in so your tailbone reaches towards your heels and you'll feel the front of your hips grinding into the floor, pressing down strongly. Keep hugging your legs together at the same time. Outer ankles all the way through your hips. Right, now you're not going for height, not a massive back bend at all. Outer arms rolling down, think firming into the block, that's imaginary, outer arms hugging in at the same time. And then use your upper back to lift your chest and your head just an inch or two off of the floor. Then take your arms up as well, about an inch. Okay, arms shoulder distance apart. Keep driving back through your legs. Inner thighs just a drop to the ceiling, not a huge amount, but then that lower belly, pull it in. Work between your shoulder blades so that you can start to look forward at your fingertips from your upper back rather than your neck. And then just keep your arms shoulder distance apart and try to touch whatever is in front of you. Reach your side body long. Good. Exhale, lower yourself all the way down. And now leave your feet like this still. Bring your wrists back underneath your elbows with your hands shoulder distance apart. Right. Drive back through your heels again so your legs are straight. Pull your belly in, and lift your shoulders and head up in line with your elbows. Okay. Get your upper body all set up. And now think about the front body pressing up. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, one line straight up into chaturanga. Oh, inhale into plank. You wanted to go all the way up. Exhale, push up and back into downward facing dog. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet. And then bend your knees if you need to and grab your elbows, hang forward. So then look at where your feet are positioned. Everybody's hips are different. They like to do different things, and it has a relation to your knees as well. Once you place your heels behind your second and third toe, make sure your knees are facing that same direction as well. And then you hold that no matter what pose, frankly, you're in. And then start to maybe straighten the legs. But if you're going to create a big round in your back, which you've been working to get rid of so far, keep your knees really bent. And then think outer hip, outer ankle, outer shin, all hugging together. Right. Bring your fingertips down. Inhale, pull your chest wide, look forward. Exhale, belly in, but keep your collarbones wide, hands to hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Okay, step on up to the front. So once you're at the front, Samastiti, feet together, hands together. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana, long spine, hinge at your hips and fold forward. Then hands to the mat, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, set your upper body up like it just was in plank, and then step your left leg back, lower your left knee, shift back and straighten your right leg out. Flex your right ankle so your toes face straight up to the ceiling. And then you can be really high up onto your fingertips, hands under your shoulders, or if you know you have the hamstring flexibility to not round and take your hands further forward like Emily had them a second ago, you can do that. But chest pulling wide through your arms. Think about the back of your right leg pressing up to the ceiling as the right quad or the front of your right thigh presses down. Do all of that at once. And then pull your chest even wider, folding from your right hip crease, the same muscles that took your leg back towards you when you were on your back with the strap. Now bend your right knee and step into plank. Once you're in plank, exhale, lower halfway down. Don't think you know where you're going. Inhale, push up into plank. Exhale, pull your right knee into your nose. Everyone does up dog there, every time. Right, so now, shoulders over your wrists, outer arms firming in. You can really hollow your belly out here. The hip flexor does more of the work to pull the thigh up, and then the back of the leg to pull your heel up. And look forward and step your foot between your hands. Then bring your back foot forward to meet it. Feet together, inhale, chest wide into Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, come up to standing, reach your arms up and keep your elbows straight no matter how close your arms will go. And then exhale, hands to your heart or alongside of you, whichever one you like. Right. Again, inhale, arms up. And exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, chest wide. And then exhale, right leg back, lower the knee, shift the weight back and fold over your left leg. And then position your hands so that first, lengthen your spine is important. Back of your left leg up, pressing to the ceiling like you're trying to bend the knee a little bit, but then front of the leg, press it down so that you're keeping the whole leg involved. Hip flexor folds you. Upper back works to widen your collarbones. And then so be it if you fold further forward. It doesn't have to be a huge fold. We're going to do plenty of folding. And then bend your left knee, step back into plank, set up that one long, very straight line. Exhale, lower, slow, halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, push straight up. Exhale, left knee to your nose, pull it in. Okay, so upper body, just shoulders through your hands are the only thing that's in handstand. But you're adding some core work here. The belly pulling in, the work of your left hip flexor to bring the thigh in, and then just pull the heel in really tight as well. And then step your left foot all the way forward. Bring your right foot up to meet it. Feet together, inhale, chest forward, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, come up to standing, arms up. Keep wrapping the outer arms forward, elbows straight, and maybe your hands will touch. Exhale, hands to your heart. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, chest wide, look forward. Upper body, keep it like this, and either step to plank or exhale, hop to chaturanga without letting your gaze drop. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, press your hips back into downward facing dog. And then just start to pay attention to the shape of your downward facing dog. So hands pressing evenly, outer arms rolling down to the mat as much as you can without letting your inner hand unroot at all. And then outer arms all the way from your wrists through your shoulders, firming in. Arms, upper arms alongside your ears. Relax your neck and reach the crown of your head towards your thumbs to do that. And then arch your upper back. But you'll feel a natural hollowing out of the belly here that happens without force to maintain stability in your lower back. And then look forward, bend your knees, keep your shoulders open, step or hop your feet up to your hands. Inhale, chest wide, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, tailbone drops, lift your chest. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Try to keep your upper body set. Exhale, just bend the elbows as your legs go back, chaturanga. Good. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Good. Okay, walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Make a hook with your index finger and middle finger. Grab your big toes. Inhale, stretch your chest forward. And once you've stretched it forward, if you can't lengthen your spine out all the way here, if you're still rounded, bend your knees. Then lengthen your spine. Fold from your hip crease first. Relax your neck down, elbows to the sides of the room if they're bent. And then if you can start to straighten your legs, go ahead. But as you do, you want to feel the whole back of your legs, no matter what, pressing to the front of your mat as you push the front of your legs straight back to the back of the mat. And then when you have those two actions working together, then hug them together. Okay. And then belly's relaxed here, but your upper back does the work to lengthen you down. And inhale, pull your chest forward and wide. Exhale, hands to hips and belly in. Inhale, stand all the way up. Okay, walk yourself up to the front, feet together. And here we go. Inhale, bend your knees, sink back, chair pose, arms up. Exhale, fold forward first, then straighten your legs out. Inhale, chest wide, look forward. And then exhale, send your left leg back again. Feet hip distance apart and come up on your fingertips with your hands under your shoulders. Okay, now firm your back leg completely straight. And if you're not sure if your back heel is over your second toe, you can look at it. That's fine. And then once it is, without letting your knee buckle in or your legs turn, hug your hips together. Now keep your back leg very straight and draw your belly in way more than you want to. And you'll actually feel it lift up off of your thigh. Hold that work, go to what your upper back will do, use those muscles and hover your chest an inch off of your right thigh and bring your arms alongside your body, palms down. Good. Okay, so keep doing that. Back leg straight, hips hugging. Belly in, upper back up dog, collarbones wide. If this is enough, you can stay. Otherwise, take your arms alongside of your ears, shoulder distance apart with straight elbows. And then reach your fingertips forward, your heel back. As you draw the belly in, a drop more, keeping your back leg straight. Maybe arch your upper back a drop further so you can look up at your fingertips. Good. Hands to your hips. Bend your back knee a lot. Lift your chest up and come into crescent pose. Right? And then hold your hands on your hips. Do that same thing. Now the back knee is bent. Overdraw in the lower belly just so that your tailbone goes straight down. It's going to make you round your whole spine, widen your collarbones. Hold the shape, press your back leg as straight as it'll go without letting your spine change at all. And then take your arms up. And then with effort in the muscles of your upper back, keep working there to lift, lift, lift up higher and higher. So maybe your gaze goes up. And then with elbows being straight, priority, bring your hands as close together as they'll go. Handstand's no fun if you bend your elbows. You just land on your face, and nobody likes that. All right, hands to the mat. Step your back foot forward. Feet together, inhale up. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, bend your knees and sit back, Utkatasana. And then exhale, fold forward again. First fold, then straight legs. Inhale, chest wide and look up. And then exhale, send your right leg back, feet hip distance. Come up onto your fingertips, set everything up. Back leg very straight. Once it is, heel over second toe, and then hug your legs together without letting them move in or out. You're just energetically squeezing. Belly in, upper back work there, hover, chest, arms. Take them alongside you first. If it's desperate that you want to look down, you're not working your upper back enough. So chest in and up, or upper back in and up. Sorry, don't do chest in and up. That would be so weird. You'd be rounding. Bring your arms alongside your ears if you're doing that. Good. Keep pushing back through your heel. Upper back in a little more, maybe more lower belly. See if you can look up. And then hands to your hips. Bend your back knee a good amount. Lift your chest with an I. Lift your pelvis and your hips. I just got back from a very long trip, and the only thing that's been damaged because of it is my articulation skills. Right, so hands on your hips. With a bend in your back knee, draw in your lower belly until the back of your hips feel like they're dropping straight down. Hold that, widen your collarbones. Hold that, back leg will go as straight as it'll go today. It might not go completely straight without arching. And then reach your arms up. You are rounding, arch. There you go. Good. Right, wrap your outer arms forward and see if you can work in the upper back enough. It should just feel like I should look up. If it doesn't feel like that, if it feels like I'm looking up by cranking my neck like a Pez dispenser, look forward. Good. All right, and then hands down to the mat. Step your back foot forward again. Feet together. Inhale, chest wide and look up. Exhale, fold from your hips. Inhale, bend your knees, drop your hips and reach your arms up. And exhale, push yourself up to standing and bring your hands to your hips. Hop your feet hip distance apart. Inhale, lift your chest up again. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands underneath your feet for Padahastasana. Slide them under. Right, once your toes touch the bend in your wrists, then inhale, lengthen your spine again. And if you need to bend your knees to get more length, do. Hold the bend, fold from your hip crease, exhale. And then work backs of the legs, fronts of the legs, and no matter what, outer legs hugging together as you begin to straighten more and more. But you're not going for rounding your spine. If you are, handstand is going to become a lot less approachable when you get there. So priority is to open your hamstrings, yes, but to do it with a long spine. And then inhale, chest wide, look up. Exhale, hands to your hips again. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. Slide your feet all the way together. And put your left hand on your hip. Firm your left hip, your left side waist. Pick your right leg up, just flexing 90 degrees and grab the back of your right knee. So grab the hamstring instead, yeah. And then flex your right ankle and steer the right big toe forward. Put your left hand on your hip, Sarah, and bend your right knee. There you go. Okay, now belly in, chest up, stamp your left heel down. Okay, now, if you can stay here, and that's where you're going to be without changing anything, fine, stay. Otherwise, grab your right big toe. as you start to straighten the leg out and reach the heel forward, like you did on your back, send your right hip crease towards your left heel. As you do that, firm the left hip, the left side of your waist. Then chest up. Good. Right, and then just mimicking this shape, or not mimicking, memorizing the shape in your mind. Mimicking would make no sense. See, I told you, articulation skills, not always great today. Right, and then lower this leg down and bring your hands to your hips again. And then set your feet up, heels behind your second toe, knees over top of them. Outer legs firming in, fronts and backs. Right hand stays on your hip, pick your left leg up. Grab the back of your knee first. Firm your outer right hip to the midline, and you'll feel the right side of your waist engage slightly too. Then send your left hip crease down, and make sure you're standing vertically. Then if you can keep that and grab the toe and send your foot forward, fine. If it's going to make you round forward or lean way back or change where your hips are positioned, just hold the back of your knee. And then you're staying neutral in the hips and just in terms of rotation. So your right foot's already set, left toes, steer them to the ceiling, and that'll take your left hip crease to your right heel a little more. And then feel that effort of just a little lower belly without letting the bottom legs bend at all, and then chest wide. Good, and then lower that down and bring your hands to your hips again. All right, set it up, feet together, hands on your hips. Now, hug the outer body in, lift your chest up. You're going to pick your right foot up, bending the knee just a couple of degrees, just not behind, just behind you. So take the foot behind you with the knee bent. Good. Now, cant yourself forward a few degrees until you can get your right leg straight behind you, just reaching towards the floor. Good. Now, once you're leaned forward a couple of degrees, hug your left hip in again, draw your belly in, reach through your right heel, rolling the inner thigh to the ceiling. Arch your upper back. Right, now, holding the shape that you have from the crown of your head through your right heel, start to tip yourself further and further forward without letting anything else change but the left hip flexing further. Lift your chest up, Sarah. You're too far, too far. There we go, good. Right, now hug your outer hips in, and either hands can stay here, they can go alongside your body, or you can take them alongside your ears with your palms facing one another. Reach through your right heel. That idea of flexing the left knee, straightening it at the same time. Same with the right leg. Last breath. Good. And then stand yourself all the way up. Those were some nice warrior threes. And bring your hands to your hips. Right, so not an easy pose to come into. You're looking for evenness. It's going to make a difference in a bit. Okay, so pick your left foot up this time. Lean yourself just a drop forward until the right leg straight or left leg straightens out. Right leg straight as well. And then tip your torso forward just a little. Hug the hips together. Reach through your left heel. Belly in. Up dog in your upper back. And then fold at your right hip crease. And if anything else is going to change, don't fold all the way to 90 degrees. It's not totally necessary. And then once you're down, either arms here or alongside of you or by your ears. That idea of pressing the right back of the leg forward, front of the leg back, left heel pressing back, left inner thigh up. Do a little more belly, a little more upper back. Really good. All right, and then slowly stand yourself all the way back up. You get big gold stars for that. That was awesome. That's what everybody wants after the age of 6, big gold stars. Right? Hands to your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, chest wide. And exhale, either have full vinyasa, you can always step into down dog if you don't want to do one. All right. So be in downward facing dog. So this next part, stay with me slowly. So part of this effort is going to mimic exactly what it's like to kick up to handstand at the wall. Right, so you're going to inhale, shift forward into plank pose, and I'll try to go quickly so this isn't so long. Right, from the crown of your head through your heels right now, you're in handstand. The only thing that's different is where your shoulders are positioned. So pick your right foot up an inch. Reach through the heel, make sure that you let the inner thigh do the work. Right, now the whole right side of your body, it's going to stay in this long line. You're going to fold from your left hip crease, but you're going to pay attention to your shoulders and what it feels like as you bring your shoulder joint towards downward facing dog or arms alongside your ears. So on your next exhale, leading with your inner right thigh, press yourself back into three-legged dog, lifting your right leg first to the height of your hip, and then any amount higher that you can lift it with square hips. And if you need to bend your left knee in order to accomplish that, do. Good. Perfect. Right now, come forward into plank pose again. You can do it one more time, just feeling what it feels like to go from this shape. And then as you exhale, turning your shoulder joint into a handstand shape, reaching your right leg back, and you'll be in one straight line on the right side. Good. And then lower your right leg all the way down. And we'll do the left side. So come forward into plank pose. And this is just to feel what it feels like. It really feels very, very similar. Right. Find the front body, push it up, float the left leg up without shifting anything else. And then leading with your inner left thigh. As you exhale, press yourself back. Good. Feel the shoulders opening alongside your ears, the effort to do that. Excellent. And then inhale, come forward again. Hold your plank pose for a moment, set it up. And then as you exhale, press back into three-legged dog, thinking I am taking my shoulders to handstand. The whole left side's already there. And if you need to bend your right knee to get the left leg all the way into what's handstand shape, do. Good. And then lower your left foot all the way down and drop your knees down and rest in child's pose. Okay, so we're going to go to the wall next for this. And when we go to the wall, we're going to do a couple of things there, and then we'll cool down after. So take your mats to the wall, and we'll see you back here in a second. So I talked at the beginning about finding vertical and it not being really effective to do this at the wall at a certain point. So if you're at the point where you've been kicking up for a while to the wall and using the wall, you've imprinted the wall as vertical in your mind. And unfortunately, it's not. It's past vertical and it's misaligned, frankly. So that's a great place just to learn how much momentum or strength it takes to kick up. But eventually, it's actually detrimental to trying to balance in the middle of the room. So we're going to do a couple of things that'll help you to balance in the middle of the room, and it'll make it really simple to feel secure and safe doing this, and that you're not going to topple over or that you're not going to go too far. So you're going to start sitting in Paschimottanasana like this, and this is just to measure your distance away from the wall. So you'll put your hands behind you, just an inch or two behind your hips. Not quite that far, you two. Yeah, there you go. Okay, and then where your hands are placed, that's the distance away from the wall, and you're going to spin around and set up downward facing dog with your heels at the wall, feet on the floor, hands positioned the same way that the same distance they are now. So you probably did this when you were learning how to do handstand, but it's actually way more effective than kicking up at a certain point. So you're going to re-imprint vertical in your mind here. So downward facing dog, all the efforts we've done. But you're going to let your neck relax and look at the wall. It's too hard to look at your hands here, especially if you have hamstrings that are a little tighter. Okay, so outer arms hugging in, arms alongside your ears, that effort of your upper back pressing in, and then just one foot up the wall to the height of your hip, no higher than that. Okay, and then once it's there, push that foot into the wall until your other foot leaves the floor and bring it to the same height, hip distance apart. Okay, and if you have, straighten your legs all the way. Don't bring them any higher. A little higher for you. You're there. Good. Okay, now once you're here, if your hamstrings are a little tighter, you can keep your knees bent somewhat without sliding down the wall like that. She has her things on her heels. Come down, you. All right, so once you're here, bend your knees if your hamstrings are involved, otherwise legs straight. Now, let your neck relax, outer arms firming in, upper back pressing through to the wall, but now add belly, pull it in. Now, very slowly, right leg, lift it up off of the wall, lead with the inner thigh, flex the ankle. That was so fast. Look at the wall, you. Take for the inner thigh. Good. Now, when your left foot gets a drop light, that means vertical. Not really light, just a drop. Good, now put your right foot on the wall, and now take the left leg up from the inner thigh. Slow, slow, slow. Pull the belly in the whole time. Left knee really straight. A little less. There you go. Good. And then put your left foot back on the wall. walk your feet down the wall, and drop down into child's pose. Right, so everybody that does this is like, oh my God, half handstand is so much harder than kicking up. Yeah, it is, because you're actually finding vertical and you're not using the wall as kind of a supplement to support your weight. So it is going to feel hard, but kicking up in the middle of the room feels like a lot of work, and frankly, it does forever. So you'll do that a few times, and then if you need to do the kick up thing the other way, you can a few times, but do it before you imprint this shape, okay? So now, second part, roll yourself up, and you're gonna spin around to face the wall, and you're gonna be as far away from the wall as you're comfortable. And then you're gonna set up a very short downward facing dog. And the shortness of the downward facing dog is really going to depend on your hamstring length. So you'll have to be a little bit longer if your hamstrings are a little bit tighter, and be a little shorter if they're a little bit more open. Okay, now once you're here, like we did from plank to chaturanga, you're going to shift your shoulders forward an inch or two beyond your wrists. Okay, and then once you have that, up dog just a little in the upper back, pressing the floor away from you, that idea of front body pressing up. Right, belly in, step one foot in any amount closer, lift the other leg that you like better from the inner thigh. Now try to get from your shoulders through the raised leg in one line, and you can bend the knee that's on the ground as much as you need to accomplish that. Now, whatever leg you have up, from your shoulders through your heel, you're in one line. That's what you're going to hold. You're going to use the bottom leg as a springboard, and you're only going to spring up enough that you can catch this. The leg that's coming off of the floor, it's going to remain in an L, or you're going to bend the knee a little bit if your hamstrings are tighter. And then like we did, from plank to down dog, that's the effort in the shoulders. So bend the knee that's on the floor, lift the inner thigh of the leg that's lifted, shoulders beyond your wrists, belly in, gaze forward, and when you're ready, spring off of the bottom leg, and only enough spring to not hit the wall. And then come on back down and do it again. Right, so you're not using the top leg as momentum. Bottom leg is doing the springing. Try not to touch the wall. Keep going. Good. Oh, you got to pull that belly in. And once you get to this place where Emily is, and you can balance this, then the other leg comes up to meet it. And then you never ever, except like she just did, have to worry about the wall. Right? And then you can come down. But that's where the control is. Otherwise, you're working here, and you're holding this L shape, and eventually it'll get light, and you can grab your elbows and hang in between. Good. So that's the way to kick up. And if I had my druthers, it would be in the middle of the room every time, because you're really honest with how much spring you give the bottom leg if you're in the center of the room. People rarely do too much. So there you go. That's kicking up. So lie down on your back, or actually come into downward facing dog. Sorry, I'm at the wall. I'm all confused. So stretch your hip flexors out before we do a little bit of back bending. So step your right foot all the way up between your hands. And then lower your left knee to the mat. Move it back as much as you need to in order to get the front of the leg and the hip flexor to stretch some. And if you're really bendy, turn your chest to the right, reach back with your right hand, and grab your left foot. And if that's too much, just go back to the lunging forward. If this still isn't stretching your hip flexor or the front of your thigh, you can drop to your left elbow. I always say it when I do that, my eyes internally turn red. It hurts. In a good way, not in an injurious way. Yeah, you have to pull that belly in, that's why. All right, and then you'll just switch legs. You can do a vinyasa between sides if you like, just make sure your head doesn't hit the wall. And then left foot forward when you're ready. Okay. And then you move the back knee back enough that you'll start, if you're a little bit tighter in your hip flexors, you'll start to feel a stretch, but more so that you're on the front of the thigh when you bend the knee and grab your foot. And so left hand can grab the foot if you're going on, and you can go to your elbow if you're doing that. And then you're trying to keep your back toes facing up. The right knee, there's a variation where you let it drop open. There's one where you keep it forward. Frankly, this is a made-up pose anyway, so you do whichever one you want. That was creative. Itching on your knee. All right, then let go of your back foot, and you'll spin around, lie down on your back, and you can have your head towards the wall. We're just going to do a bridge pose or two. So lying down, be far enough away from the wall that when you lift up, your head doesn't hit it. Arms alongside your body. Start by pressing your feet down, and then thighs parallel with one another. That same idea of pressing them in and out at the same time to keep them parallel, and lift your hips away from the floor. Now here, no lower belly at all. Abdomen totally relaxed. Use your hamstrings to take your tailbone towards your heels. And then wiggle your shoulders under you and either grab the edges of your mat or interlace your fingers, whichever one keeps the length of your arm on the floor. And you can close your eyes at this end point when you're doing, we're only going to do bridge pose today, no Urdhva Dhanurasana or anything. So you can keep your eyes closed. A little more. Try to bend your knees. Like try to drag your heels. Ah, there we go. Much better. So you can keep your eyes closed if that is something in these back bends that you can still focus on some aspect of your alignment or your breath. If you're wandering all over mentally, then keep your eyes open. Right, and arms apart, slowly lower yourself down. Take 5 breaths, and then you'll do one more for 8 breaths. And so it takes a really long time to get up the strength to kick up without a huge amount of momentum. It takes a lot of courage to come to the middle of the room and to do that thing. But it's something that's completely accomplishable. And when you take the steps that we did to go through this sequence and then to mindfully come into it, it is something that will happen a lot faster than you think it's going to. If you have the components, kind of building up to the components that you need to do this practice safely, the next step is not that far away. It is if you stay at the wall forever. It is if you use momentum at all and not strength and stability. But otherwise, it's really not that far. And it seems like it's going to be. And then arms apart and lower yourself down after your 8 breaths. And just softly hug your knees into your chest. And we did a lot of hamstring stuff already, so I'm not going to do too much hamstring stuff at the end here, but we did a lot of outer hip stability, so I'll give you a nice hip stretch. That'll feel good. So for a few breaths, happy baby, grab the edges of your feet and pull your knees down. And as long as it doesn't bother your low back, you can round your spine up off of the floor, tailbone towards your chin. But if that bothers your low back in any way or your hip flexors, then just release the tailbone down. And then put your feet on the floor and cross your right ankle just above your left knee. Grab the back of your left thigh, thread the needle. So just right ankle flexed, pulling your toes towards your kneecap. Left leg, you can let it play dead, you can keep it engaged, whatever you prefer. And then you can let your eyes close. And you have so much less in terms of effort to pay attention to here. So those standing poses, trying to learn a handstand, all of that is a lot of work mentally. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing in the moment, and that occupies your mind fully. But here at the end, when you're doing this kind of thing, if you're staying within your practice, it's a lot harder to hold your mind still. There's not that much to think about. You're in one position, you're holding still, and it's pretty much just a stretch. So put your attention back on your breathing, like we did at the beginning. And that's just a tool to keep your attention. And that's the hard part of this. Hard part of Chaturanga is all the effort in the body. Hard part of doing this final stuff is the effort that you need to put into your mind to stay as present as you are when you're doing things that are really physically demanding. So just watch every inhale in and every exhale out. You can count them if you want. And anytime your mind drifts away, you just come back and start again. And there's no good or bad. There's no judgment. You're just doing it. The same way you don't necessarily judge yourself for not doing a perfect warrior two. You don't judge yourself for this part either. And change the crossing of your legs. Put the other one on top. And then pull that in. And then go back. Once you're still again, the breathing's the moving part. It's the interesting part that you try to pay attention to. hug your knees into your chest until you feel even on your left and right side. And then set yourself up into Shavasana. So the exact same place you started, you're ending. So set up, be comfortable in the position you choose. It shouldn't feel like any work physically at all to be here. It might feel like work to hold still. And if it does, that's all right. Sometimes it's very hard to hold your body still because it forces you to pay attention to what's happening in your mind. And if you don't give your mind a task, then it's just chaos, and it feels very, very difficult to be here at all. So this pose, again, just the same thing. The work is to watch your breathing. So we'll close the same way we opened. And you treat your breath like a very, very interesting story. Watch and feel and experience an inhale, move in. Take it all the way up into your chest. And then open your mouth and do the same thing. Experience the breath out. And then do that 2 more times on your own. Watch it move in, watch it move out. Feel it. And the last time you do it, try to choose the one thing that is super interesting about it to you, whether it be the sensation that it has through your nose or through your chest or in your side ribs or belly. Maybe it's just the sensation of the breath moving in and out in its entirety. Maybe it's just the sound. But whatever you choose, now after those 3 breaths, watch that one quality of your breath. Try to step back from controlling it, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. Just try and watch that quality in and out for the duration of Shavasana. Again, when you wander, back you go. Otherwise, rest. And if your mind wandered away from your breathing, hold your body still and go back to watching it for just a few more cycles. And keep your attention on it and just deepen it enough that it feels like it wakes your body back up so that you can move. And then either choose to watch your breath or to feel the sensations in your body as you wake back up. You can add little movements, pay attention to them, or continue with the breath. Something on your mat that holds your attention all the while. And slowly you'll make your way from here up to a cross-legged seat on your mat with your eyes closed and your hands on your thighs. So you're seated up tall and your eyes closed. And just for a moment, acknowledge the work that you did. Be proud that you do it. It's not easy to work that hard, but be proud. And then any shift, beginning of practice to end, you just make note of it, no matter how small. And join your hands together. One last inhale, lift up, and exhale, bow your chin down. And lift your head and blink your eyes open.